Okay, so welcome back from the break, and here on the first talk this morning, we're looking at a very important subject that has been on the discussion table over a period of time. Drafted in 1999, reviewed in 2003, again reviewed in 2005, and reviewed again in 2007. But the discussion has been on with the RTI, right to information bill, and so we'll be coming back after the break, and we're going to look at what Parliament has been discussing, and then I'm going to have my guests also coming to the studio. We're going to look at the legal implications of it. We're going to look at government, we look at the media. It's a broad subject we're going to discuss today. When I come back, we're going to have a lead correspondent, parliamentary correspondent in studio to tell us what has been the discussion going on the floor of Parliament. Let's go for this quick break. When we come back, discussion begins.
Spa Body and Beyond, the touch of relief.
If you always keep your money in your wallet, one day you'll be let down. Let down.
Me say on I'm from Emo, Ori in Juma, GMO Basika. Me say on I'm from Emo, Ori in Juma, GMO Basika. Ori in Juma. Me say on I'm from Emo, Ori in Juma, GMO Basika. It's just a click.
Cabbage carrots.
Obia to me a bee, Miss May, Obia to me a bee, also ye, Obia to me a bee, Miss May, Obia to me a bee, also ye bee.
Dial star 712 hash, all networks. Put them.
In the future, every child, man, woman in every corner of the world will be connected. Anything that you want to know will be available at the snap of a finger. The future brings endless possibilities, but we must never forget who we are, Ghanaians. Now, who is excited about the future?
The future is here. Experience the all-new GN Electronics Smart TV. Experience international quality assembled right here in Ghana.
Okay, so welcome back from the break. As I earlier indicated to you, the discussion has been on the right to information bill, and the passage has been a discussion which has been lingering on for over a period. And 1999 it was drafted, 2003 the first review was done, 2005 another review was done, and finally in 2007, that is about 11 years now, still this particular subject has been a bone of contention. And here we have our parliamentary correspondent seated with me here, and my co-host Pamela Boateng also here with me. But we have Mr. Leslie McCarthy seated on my extreme left, and he's our parliamentary correspondent. Mr. McCarthy, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the first show.
Thank you.
And here, Pamela Boateng, you are here with me again. I want to go to Mr. McCarthy now. Your opening submission on in terms of the RTI. We know discussion has gone on in Parliament and all that. Briefly, what can you tell us has been the trend with the subject?
Well, records will tell you that it's been the longest legislation that has been on the shelves of Parliament.
Okay.
Apart from the affirmative bill, action bill.
Okay.
But this is the oldest.
Okay.
That's the House has been struggling with its passage. But this time, reports I'm receiving indicate that it will stand the test of time because its passage has been long overdue.
Okay.
And what some key members of the House who have been there, I recently had the opportunity to speak to the second Deputy Speaker, who is Alban Bagin, and he told me that he was part of those who drafted the bill. But this time, with the inputs that have been made, with the hurdles that have been cleared, he's so sure, he's so optimistic that this time they will pass the bill when the report is laid before the House. I also had the opportunity last week to speak to the ranking member on the Committee of Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, who was tasked by the House to lead the review process. Okay. And so much has been done. There has been stakeholder meetings. A lot of stakeholders have made inputs, and they have even been out of Accra to Koforidua for over 2 weeks. That is a committee to finalize the bill. And what I have learned is it's a 93 clause bill, which will be laid before the House this
93
week.
clause.
93 clause. So it's good. The deliberation is going to be very long. But they are still hopeful that so much work has been done, and when it is laid, latest in about a fortnight, that is 2 weeks, this time they will have it passed.
Okay. Okay, now we have a story on that. I want us to go for the story. When you come back, I come back to the studio, our discussion will begin. Some few questions are coming up. So let's go for the story.
The report of our meeting, our stakeholder engagement and our meeting in Koforidua was ready. It was given to me. I've read through. Whatever comments I've got on the report, I've made those comments on the draft that was given to me, and the comments were inputted into the final draft report. I've spoken to the chairman, who says that he's also gotten a copy and he's read through. He's also made his corrections. We are looking at next week, where we will take the report, and then immediately we do the second reading, and we will then start the clause by clause consideration. In view of the work that we have done, we do not envisage any challenges or obstacles to the passage of the bill within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, because we sit 4 days a week. We have come too far. We have come too far. Yes, it's true that we have come to this level before, but we came to that level, to this level, at a time that we had gone into elections and the political landscape had changed. So the NDC lost the moral authority to continue to work on the bill when it was just about exiting office. And so the bill in its old form has been around for some time. Various people, back when at a point, as chairman of the Constitutional Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, chaired meetings of this bill. And so I believe that when we finally take the report, it will not take us that long to finish the bill. It's a 92 clause bill.
So you are so convinced this time?
I'm so convinced this time that we will be able to pass it.
Okay, there you heard the Honorable Inisa Husseini speaking on the particular subject we are talking about. Mr. Leslie McCarthy was telling us that it's been one of the, in terms of the legislations discussions going on, it's been one of the long bills that has been there to be spoken about, but stakeholder consultation meetings are going on in order to making sure that this particular bill has been dealt with in within the time frame let for them. Now, Pamela, what you be? why are you laughing now?
I'm excited about it. Really, I'm very glad the first show is charting this course. This is a conversation that has been going on years on end, and I'm happy we are bringing it up again. Hopefully, the noise we make here will make government sit up on its toes to go back again. Because remember, Parliament said that they will make sure they pass this bill before the rise. Is that so?
It was. Are you talking about the 6th Parliament?
Exactly.
We are now in the 7th.
We are now in the 7th Parliament. So obviously nothing has been done about it. So we are hoping.
No, but if you heard the ranking member on the committee, he said that the political landscape around that time, it was an election year, and around election years, you know, these politicians take some funny decisions in their party's interest and not in the interest of the nation. So that was one of the setbacks that the bill suffered at the time. Everything was complete. Myself in Parliament, I thought it was going to go through. But well, we were going each day after another day. And today we will see the bill passed. And then the House rose without the passage of the bill. You see, and for this, so much has gone into it. So much. I don't think they want us to continue losing so much as a state on this bill alone. Because to put these parliamentarians together, going out, you know, inviting other major stakeholders, you know how much it will cost them. Even there was another stakeholders forum that was held in Parliament that opened up for a lot of stakeholders. The US ambassador was there. You know, there were a lot of key stakeholders that would also benefit from the passage of this bill. And there were a lot of issues they raised that no, it's really long overdue. Let's put politics aside and let's put the national interest before us so that we see this bill pass. So
okay,
that is
so Ms. McCarthy, to ask you, you made a very important point in that political will has been a challenge because certainly when it gets to certain frame of time where successive government feels like this is not, it looks like it's not good in our time, the efforts to pushing the agenda to passing this particular bill is relegated to the background. Now, do you think the will with what you're saying in this particular frame of time would still have that kind of edge to push this agenda in passing this bill?
You know, this time it's that political hazard will be put behind us because it seems both the majority, the NDC, the MPP, who are the major political parties, have now reached a consensus where they have realized that even with the coming in of this special prosecutor, without this bill pass, it will be difficult for the first special prosecutor to carry on with this mandate because we need access to information. And how do you get information? And then you are not coming to prosecute on perception. There should be reliable information. Definitely. So if you don't have reliable information, how do you go ahead with your work? So it's going to be one of the major tools for this special prosecutor to work. And well, we have been accused of being one of the most corrupt governments. That is the previous government. And you are saying that for you will make corruption very unattractive. So well, if you want to make corruption very unattractive, you see, politicians feel they are all able. So let's see this bill passed. Let the special prosecutor let it be a tool for the special prosecutor to use so that we will have easy access to information. And then with that, well, if there is rot in whether there is rot in it is only the previous government that is plagued with corruption, or there might be some elements too in this government. Then we'll be able to probe and probe well.
Definitely. I mean, this is a bill that's supposed to give access to information to all persons. It's not only for journalists, so I don't see why people are saying journalists should be the only ones to push. It's for everybody, every single person in the country. So why is government even skeptical or even laxed in passing this bill? Could it be that there's supposed to be some cover up? Could it be that people, they don't want access to all information? That's the question that keeps bothering my mind, because there are a lot of people who need information for stuff. Students need information for research purposes. A lot of people need information, but here's the case: we're in a country where sometimes we are limited to information.
Yeah.
So it's about time it's passed.
It's about time it's passed, but now right to information means to the right to have access to information relating to a legal right of any person. This information could be in the form of records, files, registers, maps, data, drawings, reports, etc. Be told the information regarding some matters that could affect a person's right. This means that a positive duty is cast on a person to give certain types of information without waiting to be asked for it. This would include information on issues concerning projects that directly affect the people or the environment, information on health, agriculture, weather, conditions, etc. Now, right information is necessary in a democratic society to ensure one, accountability, participation, transparency, and it goes on and on and on. Now, in terms of the democratical governance, form of governance, the involvement of the people is very much critical, in that you are not doing what you're doing as you see in the autocratic way of ruling, where the autocrat will see that for me, I need to command the shocks and have everything. Yeah, I decide what to do at what point in time. I take the position at what point in time, and I lord over the society. But in the democratic dispensation, people have their say. People have the leverage to ask for information, because we go to the polls to thumb our votes up for whoever we think that deserves to rule the nation. So in this regard, we still also need to get information as and when we need it.
Definitely.
If we have a president or a minister who has been put in charge of a particular project, can we have the clear overview of what exactly the project entails? Now I want to go to Mr. McCarthy. You've been in the media for a number of years and been in parliament for quite some time. Don't you think the media, the trend of the media and the way we churn out information, not really, some people churn out information, not really doing due diligence and do a lot of background check, but because you want to bring the news and be the lead to get the news out there, it's making this particular subject or this bill also having that issue in passing coming to fruition.
You know, focus on the passage of this bill has been so much on transparency and accountability.
Okay.
But like Pamela, you said earlier, it's far broader than what we are thinking. One of our biggest challenges, even as a country now, is land management. If you want to buy a land, you should be able to get the necessary information, whether there has been multiple sales of that land before you buy it. One of the biggest challenges we are facing now as a country is conflict over land.
Yeah.
And with this passage of this bill, it should be easy for you to go to where the source is. You know, you should know the right source. That is another challenge. People think you are going to access information, so you get up. You should know the right places to go. Whether I should go to the district assembly, whether I have to go to the lands commission, you know. Yeah.
Okay.
Our geographical locations. You know, a lot in agriculture, we need this information. In health, we need information. So it's holistic. It's far broader than what we are thinking. This bill is only going to help us expose rot and fight corruption and all that. And even the media, like you're saying, after this bill has been passed, need very serious orientation. So much education. Because our knowledge about this bill is very limited. We are just discussing issues on the face. That is, it is to help fight corruption, promote accountability and all that. But it's far, far, far broader than what we have been talking about.
But the question we have to ask is, how ready are we as a nation with information? We've had instances where we go to places to access information. They don't have data. They don't have anything that could date us back into the 1900s and all of that. So are we really ready? So should we pass the bill as at this moment, and I go to any of the ministries and demand information at that days all the way to 2000? Can they get it for me? So it goes beyond that. How ready are we as a nation with the data and information?
It's a relevant
Pamela,
question.
In fact, I have to give out my thumb for you for raising this issue. It came up at the stakeholders discussion. Our record management system is very poor in this country. So I even did a story out of that. And if we had a tape and we played it, and this was even raised by the US ambassador who was at the stakeholders meeting. You know, how do we manage record? If 10 years back we had to get some information, even on Parliament, well, that is a house of record, so we may have it. But there are many other places now. If you want information, and
it's
we are
too difficult.
There are so Alhaji Inusa made some interesting comments, and even about Bagbin, and even the chairman Banda, he's saying that if this bill is passed, there will still be some information that we have to go to the advanced world to get it. They have records on us more than we have ourselves here. Look at our where do we have our archives? So it's also another big challenge.
Yes.
So
You see, we should even have advanced technology systems where you go and easily have information. If we come to, maybe we're going to go to graphic and get some information dating back, some newspaper that was published in 1965 or 70. You see the state of the newspaper, whether it's readable. So how then are you getting that information?
Exactly.
So it's another major issue.
So it's not just we talking about and pushing the agenda for the bill to be passed, but for the passage of the bill, but it also come back to the question as you
record
management, because then if the bill is passed and you are now you've been given the free will to get access to information, and yet the information you're looking for you can't get, then it's
irrelevant.
It's irrelevant.
Exactly. I mean, I was very excited, not to remind viewers of what we experienced a couple of years ago, the June 3rd event where we lost a lot of lives. Can we get people who will put together a movie or something, a film, a video that will make us go back some years back to go and watch and see what exactly happened, the chronology of how things erupted that day? I think it's about time we put things together, not only textual, but it should be visual, so that in case the books wear out, in case the books tear, at least we have video, we have something, a recording or something to go back to and get that information. Because here's a case, we are going to be an open book. The nation is going to be an open book, but what's an open book without its leaves or pages? Then we have nothing.
With the media who is pushing this agenda for the passage of the bill, let's visit some media houses now and ask them, even 3 months back, some very salient news item they came up with that, oh, I am interested, I need to follow up on this. I learned it was shown or aired in your media. Please, can I have access to this? Can we have it? So all these questions,
it's a legitimate question, and so at this point you can join us on our social media handles on YouTube GNTVGH, Instagram GNTVGH, Twitter GNTVGH.
We are GNTVGH everywhere. It's
Facebook,
that simple,
everywhere,
so you don't get confused.
Everywhere. And so you may send us WhatsApp message if you have one question, a question, a submission you want to add, 0501318143, and the issue about right information bill, as we're talking about, it's very, very critical. Information management system, how we manage our information and keeping them. Now, if this bill is passed, now how do I get information about I want to buy a land, or there has been an issue I've been battling for years and I'm out of the system, my children pick up the issue, going back to track issues that have gone on, it becomes challenging. Now, Mr. McCarthy, I want to ask you, I know that it's been very daunting and challenging for journalists to actually do their work. You actually made a very emphatic example in terms that even some of the media houses to even go to ask for some tapes and archives that you need, you've seen it, you want to have it, it becomes challenging. They themselves don't even have good record keeping. How then would they be able to have the access to do the right report in terms of what they are able to fish out. I know it's been challenging with them.
Yeah, so that was one of the issues that was brought up at the discussions of the stakeholders meeting, because the stakeholders meeting was open up for people to come with ideas what will make the bill work as, you know, after its passage. If not, we say we want to have this bill passed, it will be passed all right, but it will become insignificant, you know. And like I have already said, we have to, in our way forward, if for now we are not doing it, then that should be part of our culture, that if this bill will really help us, then we have to change our record management keeping and record management and the way we, you know, handle records. Because there are journalists maybe who have, like this Arim Yao Anas exposés, for instance. I'm sure personally he will be keeping them. But if we are to go back, maybe a lecturer wants this to lecture, you know, in the next 30 or 40 years, to maybe let students know how corruption, one of the ways, you know, some journalists stood up, you know, and contributed a quota to combating corruption. We need this to be shown to them, you know. But when we are talking about 50 years, can we still have the records if the person who was keeping it is no more? You see, so we have to look at all these things. And then some issue also came out with some fees that will be taken from, and then issue of laxity on the part of even the person you are going to have the information from. You know how bureaucratic we are in our public institutions. You know, somebody will be ready and freely, oh, if this is what you want and you have come with the right information, I'll help you get it. But still, we will still have some people who will still be a hindrance to access to information.
Okay. So, thank you so much, Mr. Leslie McCarthy, who is our parliamentary correspondent and deputy editor of GNTV. And here we hear Pamela Boateng with me here. And so we're going to go for a quick break. After we come back, we have some other people coming in for us to discuss this issue. When you enter certain places to ask for certain information, people are ready for their palms to be greased. With this issue about I have the right to information. If I come and I ask the question, I need something from you, and you in turn tells me to grace your palm, what does the law say about it? What is the holistic approach to this? Let's go for a quick break. When we come back, discussion continues strongly.
Fruits play an essential role in the human body system. But have you tried fruits made in an extraordinary way? Then Golden Fruits is here just for you. We have mango roll made from sweet juicy mango, pure, dried, cut and carefully rolled into choice rolls. We have cocoa mango balls, dried fruits and our fruit bars made with different recipes of dried fruit. Contact us on 0279 848722 or email us on fd.local@bpwag.ch. Golden Fruits, it's tropical.
Welcome to Hetty's World Deco Training School, located at Trade Fair Center, La Accra, where professionalism comes to life. We train you to become an event planner and decorator, wedding planner, and an interior decorator. Courses here include floral arrangement, balloon decor, wreath and hamper making, wedding planning, table setting for events, and many more. We also help plan your wedding, funeral, engagement, parties, and any other event. Course duration is from 1 month to 6 months with an NVTI examination. Hostel facilities are available for accommodation. For more details, contact us on 026 625 4814 or 054 371 2102. You can also email us on headsdeco@gmail.com. At Hetty's World Decor Training School, professionalism is our hallmark.
Spa Body and Beyond, the touch of relief.
There's more to life than where one begins, and which is George Weah.
Are not setting up.
His presidency would mark the first time.
Be a good boy, be a good girl. How did you muster the courage to call Mrs. Indu to tell her we lost or have lost £2 billion?
And still attracts me to Pastor Toby.
You know, all the stories about me and being in business, this was the worst.
I am Wise Nana Kosi Amanina.
Fighting climate change in particular, both in Africa and in Europe, we are interdependent.
Our intake of refugees has been going up in recent years.
Today's markets and today's life is no more a question of common sense. It's a question of knowledge, understanding.
We have task forces that patrol the markets, the communities, and to ensure that certain fires do not occur.
They are prophets in the 21st century.
If my prophet is in the midst of my people, I speak to him mouth to mouth.
So because prophets speak God's word, they speak a creative force.
Because we were ignorant, we didn't really understood what grace was.
Depends on the individual, the way you look at it, the way you handle yourself, the way you carry yourself.
They want to know what disease in the family, what does the family do. They want to know all these things about the background of the family so that they won't get themselves, because they know that those things have influence.
God created man. The man that God created failed. You see, he failed, and because he failed, he was subject to corruption, to destruction, to satanic dominion and all that.
Do you want increase in sales? Or do you want to draw attention? Then mobile advertising vans from Digicat is your best bet. Our mobile advertising vans come with crisp digital images and visually impactful in the night and in the day. Reach your target audience where they live, work and play. Contact us on 0303 393 6020 or 050 132 8707.
Digicat, creativity in motion.
Okay, so welcome back from the break. We're then talking to our parliamentary correspondent Leslie McCarthy, and we'll find out what has been the discussion on the floor of Parliament. So far, the discussion with this issue, right information, began. 1999 draft was drafted in 1999, 2003, 2005, 2007. Reviews were done, and so it's been lingering on for this quite number of years, 11 years down the lane after 2007, and the discussion has been on what has been the challenges and the issues surrounding this RTI, and what are the possible bottlenecks that need to be taken off to be able to have this info sheet. The questions has also been, if this bill is passed with a record-keeping attitude as a nation, would we still be able to have this right information bill or become very fruitful? I've been joined here by the head of Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative Africa office, and she's in the person of Madam Mina Mensah, and she's also with the secretariat to the RTI coalition. Good morning, Madam Mina.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay. How is the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative Africa doing?
We are doing quite well, thank you. Advocacy is advocacy, whichever way you look at it. So we are fine.
Okay. Now you had in my earlier submission laying the foundation of how the trend has been with this RTI issue, the drafting of the bill from 1999 till the time in which we are now. Just give us the background, you being with the coalition, the secretariat, and things that you've done over the period. Just give us a background with this issue with the right information.
I don't really know where you want me to start from, because I think
we're looking at what exactly is the right to information, and then we'll look at the advantages first before we come to other matters.
Okay. The right to information is a human right. It's a constitutionally mandated right. The laws of Ghana says that we have a right to information, subject to certain limitations as are necessary in a democracy. I started by saying it's a human right, so it's as important as the right to life. And information is the bedrock of everything. For example, if you don't know your name, how would you be addressed? If you don't know where you come from, how can you live? If you don't know your own identity, how can you live? So information is everything. You can't even enjoy the right to life if you don't have information. So information is everything. That is why it is a human right, because especially in our democracy now, you need information to function, and you need access to that information that is necessary to make you function. So someone would say that information is about data, is about knowledge, and it's also about power, because you see, when you have information, you have power. So basically, that's the short thing that I can say on that. On the history of the law, like you rightly said, it's been going on for quite a long time. Unfortunately, it looks like we go back and forth with it over the years. And government after government have made promises, locally, internationally, but it hasn't materialized. Currently, it's in Parliament, and we are just waiting to see what will happen.
Okay. Currently, it's in Parliament. Other people may say that, yes, we have a right to get certain information. Why important it is for us to still have this bill? What is the importance of this bill to the human, to society, to stakeholders? Why must we have this bill as a law?
Very simple. It's in the Constitution as a right. How do you enjoy that right? There is no legal framework.
Okay.
As it is now, for you to be able to enjoy that right, if it is denied, you need to go to court, to the High Court. You and I sit here. Even the lower courts, how many of us would even go there? Now, to be able to go to the High Court, you need legal representation, because you might not, even some lawyers don't even know how to maneuver the maze of the court processes.
Okay.
How much less an individual who doesn't understand these issues. And then it takes money to go to court. Check the filing fees, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. We have a legal aid scheme that is supposed to help with when it comes to constitutional issues and you don't have a lawyer. Unfortunately, the scheme itself is highly challenged. And so, as it is now, yes, it's a constitutionally mandated right, but there's no legal framework so that if I am denied, or as to which kind of information you can decide to give me or not give me, because basically, access to information is a human right. You should be able to give me any information that I want, except that we are in a democracy, so there are certain limitations. What are those limitations? The limitations are not in the Constitution, and that is what we need, a law that will guide us to enjoy, to tell us what we are supposed to enjoy and the information that we are not supposed to have. So that is why it is important to have that right.
Okay. Now tell us within the framework of this particular bill that is being discussed overboard. Now, are there excepts or areas that are not open to disclosure? Are there, will the passage of the bill reduce the level of corruption in the public sector, as it were, in that regard?
Yes, for every right to information law, there are exemptions. Like I said, we are in a democracy. Ideally, every information should be made available to the populace because we pay for it. We pay for the generation and for the storage of information. It is the taxpayers' money. The information belongs to us. But you see, it is not every information that can be given to us because there are issues of national security, there are issues of public safety, there are issues of personal information. So for that matter, some information would be exempt. But the standard is that if you are going to exempt information, it should be limited, it shouldn't be broad. And that if you are going to exempt information, it should be according to law. And you should tell me exactly why you are exempting that information. Now, it's like the right to life. I have the right to live. If you are going to take my life away, it should be by law, and I should be told why my life is being taken away. It is the same with the right to information, the right to information. They have the same parameters.
Okay.
Okay. You were asking me whether it will help in the fight against corruption. Access to information is supposed to make governance transparent. The more transparent a country is, the more transparent institutions in a country is, the less it is susceptible to corruption.
Okay. We'll just go going for a quick break. We'll come back into some other salient areas to look at this particular subject. I've been talking to Madam Mina Mensah, head of Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative Africa. So let's go for a quick break. We come back, discussion continues after.
In the future, every child, man, woman in every corner of the world will be connected. Anything that you want to know will be available at the snap of a finger. The future brings endless possibilities, but we must never forget who we are, Ghanaians. Now, who is excited about the future?
The future is here. Experience the all-new GN Electronics Smart TV. Experience international quality assembled right here in Ghana. For more information, contact 050-144-9465. GN Electronics. Good quality comes from home.
Okay, so welcome back from the break, and Madam Mina Mensah was here with me. We're talking about RTI. We've been joined by a policy governance and policy analyst, Mr. Kofi Kukubo, joining us in this discussion. Mr. Kukubo, good morning and welcome.
Thank you.
How is the morning?
The morning is always blessed.
we actually started a discussion about the RTI, and the discussion has been on over the period, and here we're looking at what has been the challenges over the period in order not making it well, the passage come to fruition. Now I want to ask you, you being a governance and policy analyst, from where you sit, what do you think in terms of legality? What do you think has been the challenge for successive government to be able to pass this particular bill and making it to a law?
Thank you. I'm a bit late, so I don't know whether the whole framework of the RTI has been put in place.
Yeah, you can start a background and build on that.
Because right to information basically is a right to know by the public. And when you study the Article 4.1 of the Declaration on Freedom of Expression in Africa, it clearly states that governments only hold information in trust, not for themselves, but for the people. Because indeed, the government is only a representation of the people. So whatever they are doing, the public has the right to know whatever they are doing. Whatever the contract they are signing on behalf of citizens, the citizens have the right to know. They are not to question, to see whether the contracts, agreements, etc., that the government is entering into is in our interest, or whether it's devoid of any fraudulent dealings, etc., etc. So that is a fundamental right. And if you also look at our constitution, it made it clear that power is only held in trust for the people. So now, if you hold power in trust on my behalf, then whatever decision and actions you are taking on my behalf, I have the right to know. So basically, that's what the Right to Information Bill, or Act, if it comes into being, is requesting. Now, why the Act in itself? The Act, constitutionally, citizens have the right, but the Act is a mechanism of establishing the means, the how, and when to request.
Okay. And
the protection thereof for the public officials that will release those information to the public. So in the Right to Information Act or Bill, now the parameters that must be established legally to guarantee the right to information, who should release it, and how such persons will be protected are all enshrined in that act. So we're only trying to give it a legal leg to what has already been approved in the Constitution. That's what the bill is asking. Then it's also give protection to the officials that will release the information, because now if they give you that information, the superior officers, they can come up and say that you have violated some company regulations and the rest, unless you have to go back to the court to fight it. But when the act is put in place, the modalities that are involved are clearly stipulated. So you don't need to consult your superiors or anything, but you refer to that act that gives you that license to give out information. It also protects the people we call the whistleblowers, because for society to put government on its toes and to do the right things, we need the whistleblowers as well. I mean, those who are working within the system, who have access to the information, who can now alert the public that, look, if this is allowed to be done by government, the public will be at a disadvantage. So when they leak that information to the public, they are protected by law. But as of now, though we have the Whistleblowers Act, we still have serious challenges because of the absence of this bill or act, because this will also give them another edge to function properly. Now, what is a challenge? I don't need to give any long, lengthy challenge. Is political indecision on behalf of the various governments that have had opportunity to allow this bill into act. Now, why that challenge? You see, I say it without any equivocation that is when you have public officials, if I say public official, and I'm not talking about government appointees, civil servant, public servant, etc., it is only when they are not sure of what they are doing, then the tendency to hide information from the public becomes high. Because other countries that have passed this bill into act, we are seeing the examples. It makes the government more accountable to the people. Even the fear of classified document not coming to the public. We just had experience in the USA, where FBI documents that they feel are must come to the public light, to the senators to debate and argue and look at it, whether even the way the information was acquired was even done by going through the process properly. Were all questioned, and it didn't bring any government down. Okay, but those who acted wrongly, definitely they'll be held responsible. So to me, in a nutshell, is government's inability or the political will to allow this bill to be enacted. Because every government, when they're empowered, they have the majority in parliament. We have seen how they acted when it comes to certain award of contract, certain agreement that they feel is in their favor. The way those bills were rushed through parliament within 24 hours or even 12 hours, and they were passed into act, I feel it's a lack of political will.
Okay, it's a lack of political will. Madam Mina, I want to come to you. You seem to standing on your ground, indicating that this particular bill looks so to be the media is looking at it that this particular is for the media to use to their advantage, but it is not for the media as we see it, that most journalists feel that when this is passed, it is to help us do our work. But the ordinary Ghanaian, how well would they also be able to make good use of this particular when it becomes a law?
Point of correction. I said it is not a media law. That is different from it not being for the media.
Okay.
The law is for everybody in Ghana, including the media, including the politicians, including the public servants. The law is for everybody. Now, when it comes to the media, obviously it enhances their work, because you see, journalists or media persons publish things, and there is, it's true, it's not true, it's true, it's not true. If you are able to make a request for information and you have the documentation, you can give the information, the document out. If I, as a citizen, wants to verify if what you said is really true, I can also go and request for the same information and I will get it. So it helps, enhances your work. For the common person, my grandmother in the village can walk into a district assembly and ask questions. As it is now, there's the Local Government Act that empowers citizens to go to their local authorities to ask for information. But you try using that and you see the roadblocks that you would face. Why? Because there's no access to information law that gives the public official the parameters to act. So for example, if the person tells you, I swore an oath of secrecy, so I cannot give you the information. It might be very basic information, but he's used the oath of secrecy as a cover. What do you do? But the access to information law requires that you cannot just say you swore an oath of secrecy, so blanket, you can't give it to me. It requires you for you to go further and tell me exactly which part of the information that I'm requesting that is against the public interest, that you cannot give it to me. So it empowers the ordinary citizen to go to their local authorities, to go to any public office or even a private office performing a public function and request information. So that's the difference. So it is not that the law is not for the media, but it is not a media law. Those are two different things.
Just you being with the Secretariat for, I just want to ask that, do you think with this particular issue you've mentioned, do you think education about this particular subject has really gone down to people understanding its operations and all that?
We've done a lot of education, but if you say people, What are you talking about? People in terms of public officials or people in terms of
I'm talking of Ghanaians, ordinary Ghanaians as a whole. Specifically, your target and your focus is more on the ordinary Ghanaian, and I'm looking at from that end. Do you think education has really gone down to the ordinary Ghanaian to be able to understand how he or she will be able to have access to information?
I think we've done a lot, and our target is not only to the ordinary Ghanaian.
Okay.
Because when it comes to implementation, it is the public officials who are at the helm of affairs. So if you educate the ordinary Ghanaian and then the public official does not understand, and you see, we come from a culture where we do not want to give information. It's a cultural thing.
Okay.
Let your child ask you for information right now, and the first thing you say, "Oh, the yede." Very basic information. Oh, I did what the yede. That's the first, and we do it all the time. So we carried that out into public domain. So we educate, but I think that it's really gone down the ground. Yes, there is more education that ought to be done to encourage people, because generally Ghanaians are a little apathetic, and there's this attitude that we sometimes think that public officials are doing us a favor when they do things they are paid to do. So we allow them to get away with, and that is the kind of thing that we need to encourage people more. But we've done quite a bit. We've gone across the 10 regions of this country over and over and over, not once, severally, and we are still doing it because we have regional coordinators in the various regions who also take up the work. So yes, it is, education can never end. We always need to reinforce. But I would want to state it here that it is not civil society's organizations' job to educate the public. In fact, we support government. Ideally, government should be educating its own people to do the right thing, because we are in a society where we say we are in a democracy. And government owes it to its people to make sure that they are well informed to be able to participate meaningfully in governance. And that is where the NCC comes in. Unfortunately, the NCC is under-resourced. So it will be important for us to make sure that the institutions that are set up to educate the public are properly equipped, so that when civil society is supporting, we are supporting what is supposed to be done. We shouldn't be seen as the ones that it's our responsibility to do that. We are a support unit that is supposed to help with that. And the media, especially the media, because you have platforms that we do not have. We are sitting here, and the things that we say, because of the platform that you have, it goes further than me organizing maybe a forum in a place. I have a small number of people, but if the media takes upon itself to also break down the advantages of the law to people, it also helps. So we have done quite a bit, and we need more support.
Let me come to you, Mr. Kokopo. Now let's look at the role of government. You're looking at the executive, legislature, and the judiciary in this particular subject. Where are the roles within the frame in terms of
go and effect power that has been given to you? So to me, I do not see any challenge with implementation, because it affects every public institution and private institutions that are dealing or have some functions or duties with the public sector. Okay. For example, like this GVG agreement we are having, nobody knows the document. With this bill coming to an act, we could have direct access to that contract document, so that we know what exactly is contained. Now it has become some fetish and voodoo document where we cannot even have access. So now we don't know whether government is telling the truth or the civil society group that is leading it in Mani Ghana, whether they are the one telling the truth or the lie. But once that power is given to the citizens by enacting that bill into an act, all of us have that right. Even you as an individual, you don't need to be the media person. You can have right to access that information. So to me, the implementation is we who will have to exercise the power thereof.
Okay. Our time is getting up here, but I want to ask Madam Mina now. You know our culture as a nation in record keeping, in data management. Now we're talking about information. You're talking about files, records, and what have you. If I move into a ministry and I ask for an information with the culture of the way we keep our data, even I cover, it becomes challenging sometimes. What would you propose as we're moving on in management of our data in order to help us be able to have this particular issue dealt with in a good way? Because if I come into your office and I ask for a particular information and we don't have the culture for keeping data well, it becomes challenging in providing that information. Let's say date back 10 years, 20 years down the lane. What would be your proposal for that?
Thank you very much. And when I came to do this thing, I was hoping we would touch on the content of the bill as it is now, because that would have opened up the discussion more and what you say fits in. When we look at the bill as it is now, there is nothing on records keeping in the bill.
Okay.
And that's one of the proposals that we have made as a coalition, that there should be a specific...
Oh, you actually made a proposal on
that's why I said my assumption was that because the bill is in Parliament and it's supposed to come out. What is the content? Because it's one thing passing a law and another thing having a law that speaks to our needs, and then we could implement. So that was one of the things that I thought we would discuss. Unfortunately, we didn't look at the content of the bill, and that is a bit challenging. But in terms of records keeping, we know that we have very poor records keeping culture in this country, and so as far as I'm concerned, that should be made clear in the bill, and then sanctions should be attached to it. And it's one of the proposals that we have made in terms of the memo that we sent to Parliament, because Parliament asked for memos. We sent memos and recommendations. There were quite a number of issues with the bill as it is that we thought that if we allow it to go, it would be like you're giving me information and you're taking it back. For example, there are broad exemptions from chapter 5 to 17. It's full of exemptions, information that is exempt. There is no primacy clause saying that when the bill comes into force, every other legislation that seeks to withhold information, the bill would override that. There's nothing like that. There's a very weak primacy clause in there. So these are some of the things that I think we need to interrogate the content of the bill. Yes, Parliament has gone for a meeting and has looked at it. The report is not out. It's only based on the report that we know the kind of review that they made. But having said that, I think that we need to make it a clause in the bill, or else we'll have challenges. But as things are now, if you go and there is no information, there's a problem. It is for the information officer. And I want to touch on something that he said about the implementation. You see, one of the things in the bill, and again, that was the difficulty, we did interrogate the bill, is that there should be an independent information commission to oversee the implementation, so that when there is a problem, a challenge, there's an appeals process. So I come to you, you refuse to give me the information. I go to your boss refuses. There's a process that you go before you go to the court. So the court will be the final resource. So the Information Commission is supposed to look at the challenges in the implementation. And when that is he's not able to deal with those challenges, then we can resort to the courts. So for me, it's the way we are able to do that is to make sure that people keep records. There will be teething problems. You would go to an institution and genuinely the information will not be there because of our culture. Look at Pratt. Pratt is so a public records and
something
it's so under resourced that if you go there, you would probably not find much. But if we start the implementation, these are teething challenges, but it will force people to keep information. I think a year or two ago, there were certain requests for certain data from MTN, which they did not have. So I think as people kept requesting for that information, now MTN has put in that structure. So when you come and you request for the information, they have it. So for me, yes, there will be problem with records because a lot of the records we don't have. But we should also make sure that people are not using that as an excuse not to give out information. And that is why we need to have it in the bill so that if you say that there is no information, you should be able to substantiate that. And if it is found out that you are just keeping the information and
you don't want to give out,
then you can be sanctioned for it.
I think Mr. Kukubo, your final touch on she's mentioning a lot of things in there. The discussion we just began with the RTI on the first show. We're building it up, so there are other areas we'll be looking at, and certainly an open forum with stakeholder involvement and all that, and certainly we are going to get you on board. So Mr. Kukubo, your final word on this particular, you have studied it, you have looked at it, what is your proposal and your final comment on this particular subject?
Every democratic dispensation needs right to information, because that is one way of guaranteeing that citizens are participating in democratic governance. It is a guarantee that must be given to citizens. So to me, just like to encourage every other person that believe in democratic governance, that this is a bill that we have to fight and push through. However, I'm happy he has made mention of some of the assumptions and some of the critical components that were overlooked, because you can have a law being passed and it's of no effect. You have the law in your hand, but it's of no effect. So the necessary how do you call it, areas that were overlooked, I think this is a time we have to work on it critically. Make sure before the law comes out, it's completely impact and very effective. Other than that, it's of no use. However, just to touch on data or record keeping, to me, with the right information coming to become an act, it will also force public servants to keep records, because now people want to know. So data records keeping, making sure that data is properly kept, they will now be forced to acquire that culture. Law itself changes the behavior of people. So once that law is put in place, that means the old culture is now being changed by the law. Over time, we will have proper record keeping, not only in our public sector, but even in the private sector, the ones that are having transactions with the public sector.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Mr. Kofi Kukubo. He's a governance and policy analyst, and Madam Mina Mensah, who is the head of Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative Africa. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a wonderful time having a conversation with you here on the First Talk on First Show, and we'll call on you again because there is much to discuss into this particular issue. Viewers, we're going for morning trends, and we.
Hello and welcome to Pay Global app. Pay Global allows you to send and receive money into your mobile wallet instantly from around the world. It makes money transfer easy, affordable, smooth, and convenient for agents and users. Roaming services are also available globally. So, how to get started? First, you have to download the Pay Global app. Step 1. Open Google Play or Play Store using your Android device. Step 2. Search by typing Pay Global in the Google Play search engine. Step 3. Locate and click on Pay Global and install. Step 4. After installing, tap Open and allow access to complete the process. Now, let's see how to create a new Pay Global account. After opening the Pay Global app, click on New User Account. Complete the registration form with the following information to register your account: phone number, full name, email, date of birth, enter preferred password, and confirm your password. Click on Register Now to register your account. A confirmation code will be sent to you and displayed in the text box. Click Next to complete.
Welcome back. It's still the first show live on GNTV. Just gone by was the first talk with much emphasis on the passage of the RTI bill. It's now time for morning trends. We go on to YouTube and find out what has been happening on YouTube. What have people been talking about? It was a packed weekend. Is it reflecting on YouTube? Well, be my guest as we all find out on YouTube trends this Monday morning. I'm starting from number 4 and we find out from number 1. On number 4, seated comfortably is Kim Promise with Mugis and Sarkodie with YouTube trends on number 4 with their song CCTV, undoubtedly one of the best songs at the moment with over 441,000 views already, just a week of releasing that song, and everybody is talking about it. Everybody wants to catch a glimpse of what exactly this CCTV song is all about. So it's seated at number 4 on YouTube trends. I go up at number 3 and we are asking ourselves, could this video finally confirm the ongoing relationship between Tiwa Savage and Wizkid? Well, go to YouTube right now and find out what exactly is happening as Wizkid toasts Tiwa Savage live at the Afro Republic concert. That is at number 3 on YouTube trends this week. At number 2, a video of Real Madrid versus Liverpool. You don't expect me to stay much on this video, do you? I mean, you can go watch it. It's at number 2 on YouTube with over 3.9 million views. It's rather unfortunate. Mo Salah was kicked out in like 30 minutes in the show. It's rather unfortunate, but I'm not staying any longer on this video. Let's move on to number 1. Who is trending on YouTube trends this week? And it's none other than Faust the Bad Guy. He was really bad in this video as he makes it to number 1 with a mimic of Childish Gambino's This Is America. He has done his own version and he calls this one This Is Nigeria, where he emphasizes on some of the ills that are going on in Nigeria. And you can see it clearly on your screens. This is Nigeria with over 975,000 views. Oh my god, this is what he had up his sleeves. Well, you can go to YouTube and find out more about this video as it's trending live on YouTube. That is all for YouTube trends this morning as we quickly go on to Twitter and surf and find out what are our top trends on Twitter this morning. What are you talking about? At number 7 is Hala Madrid. Yes, Madrid is trending. Of course, they cannot win without not trending. So a lot of you are tweeting about Hala Madrid on Twitter as it tops number 7 in the trends. Number 6 is LeBron James for making his team go to the finals. So Cleveland Cavaliers are making it for the finals thanks to their man LeBron James, as they sit at number 6 on trending issues on Twitter. At number 3 we have Liverpool. Fortunately, Liverpool is being still talked about on Twitter trends. Well, it's at number 3 as a lot of people are talking about the team, but I'm still a proud Liverpool fan. Whatever it is, we are never walking alone. Watch us again during our next comeback. We're going to lift the cup finally sometime soon. So these are some of the trends on Twitter. These are some of the things you guys are talking about, mostly sport, mostly with the Ghana card. So that wraps it up for morning trends. We do not have time, but God willing, tomorrow we are back again to find out who has made it to number 1 trends on Twitter as well as on YouTube. I'll be joined by my buddy Joe as we finally wrap up the show. Okay, so I've got my buddy here as we wrap up the show. How's the show? I mean, that was a great discussion you had.
It's a great discussion, but there's lots more to talk about, and I can see you're still
can we not go there? Like, can I wish my friend now Okaiko Justa Aye, today happens to be your birthday. I wish you well. Make sure you enjoy the day and have fun. I don't want us to go back to that Liverpool issue, but we are back again same time tomorrow. With great conversation. Tuesday Wahala is on tomorrow, so you can post a video, tag us on social media at GNTVGH on all our social media handles.
Send it via WhatsApp on 0501318143, or you can call the same number if you have a challenge in your community, and we'll be there to help you. So my name is Joseph Nanasapong, and I'm here with
Pamela. We are back again same time tomorrow. Bye bye. Bye. Or tripping.